The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Ashland Fire and Rescue, Oregon, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 37968. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation. First, starting underneath the front bumper, you'll find two open-ended tow hooks on the passenger and driver side frame rail. Moving up onto the face of the front bumper, you'll find dual air horns on the passenger and driver side. Moving toward the driver's side face of the front bumper, electronic siren and PA speaker. Inside the bumper extension area in the center, you'll find a tub storage location for hose, in addition with a swivel discharge. As we move to the outer edge of the cab area, you'll find a turn indicator marker light. Just inside that location is the headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. The high beam is on the inside. Just above that, emergency warning light cluster forward facing. As we move up, there are 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. Moving up to the outer edge of the A pillar is where you'll find your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. Moving just behind the glass in the window, this is your Haas system for traffic avoidance collision. Moving up to the brow, you'll find 5 identification clearance lights, and located in the center, a forward-facing floodlight. As we move up onto the roof of the cab on the driver's side, you'll find your forward-facing opticom, and then all the way up onto the roof area is where you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Let's go ahead and take a close-up of a few of these items we talked about. First, starting under the front bumper with those tow hooks. These are intended for direct pull and are not intended for towing your vehicle. As we move to the outer edge, air horn and emergency siren, swivel discharge, dry deck material, Velcro tie downs for your front hose load, headlight structure and emergency warning light cluster. Moving up to the top, identification lights, forward-facing flood, opticom, and emergency warning lights. Let's move to the cab area. We'll start on the driver's side with your front axle where there's a visual sight gauge, steel wheel, and Goodyear tire. Under each of the step areas, you'll find perimeter lighting. As we move to that forward bumper extension area, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. Moving into the driver's space, you'll find your air inlet into the step well area. Up onto the A pillar, that turn indicator marker light, which we previously discussed. Easily accessible with a gloved hand. These are your door latch and lock combination. They are keyed. And then next to that is a grab handle for gaining entry and exit in and out of the vehicle. Right next to the grab handle is where you'll find your auto eject shoreline inlet 20 amp auto eject. And then next to that, you'll find an emergency warning light side facing. As we move to the rear cab wall, it's where you'll find a side facing floodlight. And then as we move forward to the front area, this is your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. Let's move to the front bumper extension where you'll find the side-facing emergency warning light. Just underneath this area is where you'll find the drain for your front discharge. As we move up to the A pillar area, you'll find the turn indicator marker light, and then just down into the step well area of the driver's space, you'll find your air inlet. Let's move down just behind the driver's door where you'll find the shoreline auto eject 20 amp. And as we move into the cab area, fixed to the door panel, are safety and warning placard information. Moving up from that, you'll find your combination door latch and lock, manual window control, and a grab handle. As we move down to the yellow placard down in the lower section, this is where you'll find your information regarding your vehicle from the manufacturer. This information will house is the 5-digit job number, date of manufacturer, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, all of the information regarding the VIN number and also fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and also fluid type. Let's go ahead and move into the driver's space. We'll start first at the base of the pedestal of the seat. When plugged into Shoreline Power, your battery voltage indicator will illuminate, indicating battery status. Also in the very front, you'll find your master battery switch, in addition with your DEF and also J1939 diagnostic port. As we move to the right side of the steering column, you'll find the pump shift. As we move to the left side, you'll find your start and ignition switch. Let's go back to the pump shift, where you'll find there are instructions on the placard from road to pump operations. And then also on the right side of the placard, you'll find from pump to road operation. Just as a reminder, for pump operations, when exiting the cab, you'll need pump engaged and OK to pump illuminating for pump operations. Just above that, you'll find the OK to engage the high idle indicator and also switch. Moving up to the dash cluster on the left-hand side, you'll find the transmission temperature, oil pressure, DEF level, and water temperature. On the right, you'll find front air, rear air, volts, and fuel level. Located in the center is the tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information displays above and below the speedometer and tachometer, in addition with tally light information. Let's move just to the right of the operator space, starting at the very top, where you'll find a monitor for your backup camera. Just down from that location is going to be the electronic siren control module and PA speaker control module. We also have a set of switches, which we'll go over in just a few moments. There is a yellow diamond, which is your pull to apply your system parking brake, and push to release. These are the rear air brakes. Just below that, you'll find control module here for the left and right mirror. Also Allison transmission pad. We do have a push button digital readout. Moving just to the right is where you'll find a push button rotating knob. This is for your windshield wiper, push for fluid. As we move further to the right, you'll find the heat, air conditioning, and defrost. Also, as we move to the very far right, you'll find 12-volt access via USB and barrel style. Let's go ahead and go overhead of the operator's space, first starting with the yellow placard on the left. Height of the vehicle, 9 feet 8 inches. Length, 30 feet 6 inches. Gross vehicle weight rating, 42,000 pounds. Moving further to the right, we have an emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. Opticom, front scene, driver's side scene, passenger side scene, and rear scene. When any of the switches have been activated, the light will illuminate green, indicating the switch is on. Moving toward the center, as we move to the very front, just between the windshield area, this is your Haas system, traffic avoidance. Moving further about seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green they're in the seat and belted. We also have a light indicating do not move your apparatus when the light is on, indicating you have a door open or ajar. Goodyear tires, steel wheel, and a visual sight gauge into the center of the axle area. At the rear portion, you'll find also mud flaps. As we move now into the crew cab area affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, combination lock and latch, manual window control, and a grab handle. Moving now into the cab area, on the hinge side, you'll find the red grab handle for gaining access into the rear portion of the cab. Also, there are 2 forward-facing and 2 rear-facing seats. These are housing SCBA brackets also. As we move toward the center, you'll find a access location for your daily checks for oil and transmission. Moving up to the very top, you'll find your air conditioning unit and also push on and off red or white red lens lamps. On each side, you'll find a roll-up compartment door for additional storage. There are adjustable shelves inside and LED lighting. As we move exterior, at the back section of the cab, you'll find a side-facing scene light. And let's go ahead and take a look at the full pump panel. We'll start first with the crosslay area. As we identify the crosslay in this area, we have crosslay 1, 2, and also a 2.5-inch crosslay. Moving now to the pump panel, you'll find a warning placard indicating entanglement hazard. Because of those lines coming from the loft, there's the possibility of entanglement. This is an audible speaker. Around the edge of this bezel, it does rotate, allowing you to brighten or dampen sound. The minimum operation maintenance schedule is located also here for 150, 200, and 250 psi, along with a warning placard regarding fall hazard. When climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. This is your Husky 3 foam system module. There are operating instructions for operating this piece of equipment, and also system instructions, along with your foam tank level A indicator. Moving further to the right in the gray module, we'll start with the master intake gauge and master discharge gauge. In between the two of these gauges are test gauge ports labeled vacuum and pressure. These are currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. Let's move further to the right where you find your pressure throttle governor. Please see the owner's manual for its operation. In addition, we do have an OK to pump indicator lamp, and then also panel lights, front scene, driver's side scene, and passenger side switches. Moving down, we have clustered the discharges for front discharge, crosslay 1, 2, and the 2.5 inch. These are all foam capable except for the 2.5. They're indicated by a red indicator indicating foam capable. We do have a Husky 3 foam system specifications, deluge discharge, real discharge, both of these are foam capable, and also the real blowout, which is a rotation, not a pull. To the right, main water tank level indicator. Moving further down on the pump panel, we'll find clustered here. These are 2.5 inch discharges, driver 1 and passenger 2. Also, the large diameter passenger side discharge is a wheel. Moving to the right, you'll find your fire pump primer, air prime, push to prime for best practices, at least 1,000 RPMs when engaging the primer. We have an engine cooler, twist not a pull, and then also tank fill, recirculating line, and your tank to pump. Let's move further down on a warning placard here indicating caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Also, this is the number 1 driver's side discharge, 2.5 inch. As we move down, just a reminder that only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after they have received proper training. This is in addition to your minimum operation maintenance schedule placard. These are the instructions for it. And as we move down, the Pierce logo American flag eagle. This is the driver's side main pump inlet. You'll also find right next to that the foam tank fill for draft and tank mode, and also once again a warning placard here indicating do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. As we move down, you'll find the main pump drain, and then our Watrous placard indicating the capacity 1,500 GPM, along with all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move just to the right of this location, you'll find the minimum operation maintenance schedule placard. Also, the driver's side auxiliary inlet locally controlled via ball valve. This is a female inlet. Moving further to the right, we previously discussed the foam warning placard, also main pump drain, and then also down at the very bottom section, your manual pump shift. There is a lift and turn latch here from this pan door to gain access for visual inspection behind the pump panel. As we move down to the very bottom, you'll find your manifold drain and then also your foam manifold drains located in this area. As we move to the rear portion of the body, rear of the axle, folding wheel chock storage for 2 wheel chocks, marker turn indicator light just in front of the rear axle. There are also 2 pan doors here. We'll discuss the contents once these are opened. But in between those, you'll find a emergency warning light side facing just above the axle. As we move up to the very top, you have 2 locations here for hose storage. These are for your drafting tubes. And then as we move to the very rear section, you'll find a side facing scene light. And then just down below that, an emergency warning light 360 degrees. Let's go ahead and take a look at some close-ups. First, let's start with the wheel chocks down in the very bottom section. Once again, folding wheel chocks. As we move forward, marker turn indicator light. This is just in front of the rear axle. Let's move into the pan door here where you'll find 2 SCBA bottle storage, also 4.5 US gallon DEF tank. It is the blue cap. Emergency warning light side facing. Just as a reminder, Goodyear tires, steel wheel. As we move to the rear of the axle in that pan door, we're going to find SCBA bottle storage for 2 with retaining straps and your ultra low sulfur diesel fill. It's the silver cap. All compartments open. We have shelving and pull-out trays in each of those compartments on the front and rear of the axle. In the forward section, you'll find one plugged into shoreline power. This outlet is active, activating your battery charger to maintain battery status. You also have a pull-out tray and also a pull-out shelf. The release mechanism for both of those are located on the lower right-hand side. They will lock into position. Let's go ahead and move around to the rear portion of the apparatus. We'll identify a few items within this area. First, let's start on the left side of the truck with the emergency warning light, brake, turn, and reverse light cluster. As we move up, we have some cupped switches for hose bed lights and also rear scene lights. Moving up to the very top, license plate area, rear scene light, and then also at the very top section, you'll have an emergency warning light. Moving now to the center section where you'll find captive rollers here for your hand line or booster line, 2 fold down steps in this area, also a 2.5-inch rear discharge. I would like to point out some warning placards here regarding entanglement hazard because the line's coming from the hose bed area. There's the possibility of entanglement. Also pressure hazard. Once again, caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Fall hazard. When climbing on or off the vehicle, please always face the vehicle. And then fall hazard. Never ride on the vehicle while it is in motion. You'll also find a recessed backup camera and also a 2.5-inch discharge, which is also foam capable here at the rear. As we move to the rear roll-up compartment, you'll find your booster line or red line located here. There is a free tension spool knob located on the right of the reel. Also a manual reel rewind location for inserting the tool, and then also the push button for electric reel rewind. Let's move up toward the hose bed area on the right-hand side. A D handle will gain you access into your ladder storage area where you'll find a 24-foot extension ladder, 14-foot roof, 10-foot attic, and then 2 pike pole storage locations. Just a general view at the very top section of the passenger side rear. Now we'll go ahead and move through the passenger side compartments area. Same configuration and layout as for the most part. We start at the very rear section. You'll find a pass-through compartment at the lower section, adjustable shelves, and at the very bottom section, a pull-out tray. Once again, release located in the right. In the over-axle compartment, you'll find a tool board. D handle gains you access to the back side. Once it's open, it will lock into position. There is a lock release on the hinge side. SCBA bottle storage for 3 bottles with retaining straps. Emergency warning light side facing. Goodyear tires, steel wheels down the lower section. As we move just in front of this area, you're going to find this vehicle does have an additional SCBA storage location in the upper portion for 3 bottles. What I would like to point out in the lower section is a warning placard indicating extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist, especially during regen operation. Please be cautious where you park your vehicle during regen. As we move into the forward compartment, once again plugged into Shoreline Power, this outlet will become active. And now as we move into the pump panel area, we'll start at the very top section with your crosslays. Same configuration layout as we have crosslay 1 and 2 and also a 2.5-inch. We do have a few warning placards here indicating fall hazard. When climbing onto the vehicle, always face it. Also, we'll find a warning placard here because entanglement hazard of those crosslays. Be cautious when pulling those lines from aloft. Also, a cab lift is located here. There are instructions for its option to raise and lower. We also have some caution and danger placard information here because of the movement of that cab. Please make sure all items are secure within the cab area prior to tilting. As we move to the pump panel area, American flag Eagle, this is your large diameter pump inlet. The green is your large diameter discharge, and then we have a 2.5-inch discharge located here. Access pan door, and then also at the bottom, all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's move forward of the cab section, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the items within this area. First, starting down at the stepwell area at the very bottom. Perimeter lighting, also rear mud flaps on the front tires. Moving inside to the rear section, a fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information, manual window control, door lock and latch, and a grab handle. Easy access strap located here on the hinge side. As we move into the stepwell, you'll also find illumination. Moving now from this location, just up from this area, we'll find the side-facing emergency warning light. As we move downward, you'll find Goodyear tires,
steel wheel, and a visual sight gauge indicator. Moving up at the very top section, grab handles, and also easily accessible with a gloved hand are your door lock and latch. Keyed. Flat mirror and convex mirror on the A-pillar. Moving now into the driver's space, where you'll find affixed to the door panel safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, and window control. Step well is illuminated. Also under the step well is where you'll find perimeter lighting. As we move in on the A-pillar, you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid just forward of the officer seat. And also in the very bottom section of the officer seat, you'll find an additional storage location under this area also. The front driver's seat is non-SCBA. The officer seat does have an SCBA pack located in it. Release in between the center section of your seat area. As we move to the front A-pillar, turn indicator marker light, bumper extension, emergency warning light, turn indicator, marker light also, headlight structure, and also emergency warning lights. General view, just as a reminder, when tilting your cab, make sure you maintain equal pressure on both right and left cylinders. Do not lower the cab onto the cylinders. Congratulations, Ashland Fire and Rescue Oregon, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 37968. If you have any questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.